Hey world, you're listening to Globethotter, the pod that puts the lover in travel lover. I'm your fearless and a little too flirty host, Cassie Martinez. A solo traveler and digital nomad for over 7 years and counting, I've mixed business with pleasure since my first solo trip in 2016, when I ditched my flight home after falling in love in and with Lisbon. Join me each episode as I swap juicy travel stories with a slew of amazing adventurers who, like me, kiss and tell. Dating, backpacking, main character moments. Globetrotter Pod goes there. And you're coming with me. So, for those that don't follow Globetrotter on IG, you may not know that this past fall, I actually did a volunteer for accommodation exchange in Panama for a co-work/co-living hotel and hostel. And I had the time of my life. For 2 whole months, I was out in the middle of nowhere, living in a beautiful and secluded beach town of just 300 people, learning how to surf, dancing barefoot in the sand, and ditching makeup. Basically, I was living out Bad Bunny's last album. Kind of like today's guest, Daisy, who you may know as Daisy's Travel Diaries on TikTok and IG. Joining us all the way from a co-work in Puerto Escondido, Daisy has been traveling full-time for over 12 years. Over the course of trekking through 59 countries, and counting, Daisy has worked countless gigs, including a stint as a professional fairy at parties, and that one time she was a hostess at an ice bar in New Zealand. These days, Daisy has put down her fairy wings and is making a life for herself as a full-time digital nomad and content creator who inspires others to live life on their terms. In this episode, we dive into the nitty-gritty of long-term travel and talk about topics like what to look for when choosing a town to settle into, where to find paying work, and the secret behind making new friends in established communities. And, as a bonus, we're also sharing some critical faux pas to avoid as a newbie in town. Spoiler alert, it has to do with dating. Well, of course. So buckle up and lift those tray tables, because Globetrotter is taking off. So hello, Daisy. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Slightly hungover, but fabulous. Getting stuff done.
Yes. And where are you coming from today?
I'm in Puerto Escondido in Mexico. So if anyone's been here,
Amazing.
You'll know it's a good nightlife. You have to be very strict on yourself if you want to get anything done.
You're so right. And I was just about to add that a hangover in Mexico, you know what? It's better than anywhere else in the world, really. A hangover when traveling, you can deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. I can get work done. I can do stuff because it's beautiful and sunny, so it's all fine.
Right. Okay, but you gotta tell us just a little bit. Like, give us a tease of last night. Like, give us a little, night out wanderlust.
Oh, things just escalated. They always escalate here. We went for a nice dinner, we were given some shots of mezcal for free, and then drank some more mezcal. Ended up at ladies' night in this hostel.
Oh, stop.
Then ended up in Congo. And Congo's like reggaeton, but everyone's just crammed in, so you just have to grind on people all night, and it's like a big sweaty fest of reggaeton. It's fantastic.
Oh my gosh. Wow, I'm on my way.
I'll see you in there.
See you in the sand. Honestly, I'm all for any nightclub, bar where you can just take your sandals off.
Yeah.
And you can be barefoot. That's me, man. That's my element.
100%. And just being able to wear denim shorts and a bikini top or whack a top on. You don't have to bother with doing your hair or makeup nice.
Oh.
You just go and have fun.
So true. Okay, so I spent basically halfway through October to halfway through December in Panama doing just this. And it was so lovely. You're spending your days at the co-work or surfing or whatever. And then night comes around. It wasn't like Puerto Escondido in the fact that there were a bunch of bars. I was in a tiny little beach town called Playa Venao. There was only 2 bars, but it was great in the sense that everybody went.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody was at those same places. And I knew that I was officially there once I had kicked off my sandals and I started dancing with some mezcal in my hand.
And it's sometimes good when it's just a couple of bars, because as you say, you're going to know everybody in the bar.
Yeah.
So you can go in, you'll know people, you can dance, chat. It's great. Like a little community.
Yeah. So true. One dirt road. Puerto Escondido is like that, right?
Yeah, it's cool. It's quite big though. There's lots of different places you could go to, but everyone ends up going to the same place. So you see lots of the same people out. I'd happily go out by myself because I know I'd bump into someone I know. which is always fun.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's good.
Yes, that is always underestimated when you're in these like smaller, cool beach towns. You don't necessarily need like that squad of anybody to go with you. You're like, I know I'm going to bump into so-and-so. Anybody, really.
Literally, we went out last night, I think, me and 3 friends, and then at the first hostel we bumped into a huge group of people we knew, and then it was just like a convoy down to the next bar. It's great.
Oh, love that. Love that. Drop a pin. I'm on my way. So where are you from originally?
I'm from Bournemouth, which is in the south of England, like right at the bottom.
Okay. And right now we're in February. I bet that weather right there is critical right now. Crucially cold.
Oh my gosh, it would be bloody awful. This is why I haven't spent a winter at home in a very long time. It's just grey and miserable. My mum keeps sending me photos of the rain outside. Like, I hope you're having fun in Mexico.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the FOMO your stories are probably inspiring.
Everyone hates it, but they love it, so it's fine.
Amazing. So to kick things off, how about you tell folks listening just a little bit about the travel content that you make in your very own words?
I focus on like helping people become digital nomad, remote worker, but also sprinkle in some like dating stuff in it. So like realities of being single as a full-time traveler. And it's all pretty lighthearted, fun. I like to try and keep my personality in it as much as possible. Yeah, and also show that you can be like a 30-year-old single woman and still travel the world and be successful. That's kind of what it's all about. It's like you can travel and be successful and have amazing friends and have all of this while still doing what you want to do.
The full pie. Please, let's take a bite. I love it. And you briefly mentioned this, but you have been a full-time backpacker since when? How long?
I first went away by myself when I was 18, and now I'm 30, so 12 years I've been traveling.
Amazing.
Pretty much full time. Been fun. Been a journey.
Nice. Right? Yeah, a literal, metaphorical, metaphysical journey.
Yeah, 100%.
So how would you describe your travel style?
Very spontaneous. But now, like, kind of less so. Like, now I'm working online. I like to stay places at least a month, sometimes more if I like the place, like if I find good friends and things. Like, I was meant to be here for a month, but then 3 days before I was meant to leave, I extended to another month, and then I might extend again. But now I'm single again, and before my ex, I just, very spontaneous. So if I meet people and I'm fun, I'll be like, come here, I'll be like, okay, sweet, I'll come. Or yeah, I'll go there.
I love that. Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And I love that. I think your type of spontaneity straddles like, yes, I'm down. I've made new pals. Like, I want to stick around. But at the same time, like, you're a long-term traveler. So when you stick around, it is for like that month.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like to move around too quick, especially like Latin America. But right now I have this planned. I mean, I'm back in the UK in June, but I have literally nothing planned. I don't like to plan. Bit of a commitment phobe, some might say, because something fun might come up.
Aren't we all? I feel like the solo traveler equation is like commitment phobe meets a little bit of masochist, because we're living life like on hard mode. Like everything is like, oh, it's going to be a 5-hour bus. Yeah, there's no AC.
Literally.
And we just like eat it all up.
And like, it's all part of the plot. It's all for the story.
Exactly. So speaking of the unglam realities of full-time travel, what is something that you kind of have to deal with pretty often that you just do not see in like the glam TikToks, the reels, etc.?
Definitely, as someone who's like working online, is for like sprinting between different cafes or something. If you have a meeting and when your Wi-Fi goes out and you're trying to like connect your hotspot when your data runs out, so you have to like run to the co-working taxis. So that's definitely a struggle.
Ooh.
Otherwise, just struggles like girly things, like suddenly you don't have any tampons. I mean, you can't find anywhere that sells tampons because you have to go to a chemist, so you're like running around to find a blooming tampon, and then you get tired and hungover, and then you get a bit homesick, and then you end up going out because you meet people. It's just really chaotic, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Right, exactly. Going back to the equation, masochists.
100%. People think we're mental, and we definitely have to be a little bit mental to live this life.
Right. It's so true. Like, okay, so in the Globethotter Facebook group the other day, I was asking about like period vibes. Basically, I was like, okay, I was interested in switching over to the cup.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, who else has done this? What cups do you recommend? And my next question is going to be, I started using period panties, which are literally life-changing. And I'm like, how am I supposed to, upkeep this in a dorm? I'm sorry, but what?
Yeah, literally.
These are the questions. These are the real questions.
Even like contraception and things as well. Like I just got the IUD because it means like 5 years, don't have to worry about it. But my friends who are on the pill and things, they have to worry about finding the right pill, whether like country has the pill that we're on. So lots of things.
Totally. So as a long-term traveler, I'm curious, what are the factors about a destination that make you think, yeah, I want to stay here for a while? Like, let's put down some temporary roots.
For me, it's really about the people I meet, like the community that I meet. So like here, I was here for 3 months in 2021 and I met a few people and then they were still here. So I'll just come and then couldn't decide what to do, but now I've made like a group of friends and so I'm like, I'll stay for the friends and the community. I don't love huge places, like you'll never find me long in a city, maybe a month max, but like smaller places like this where, as you say, you'll go to a bar and you'll probably know someone and then you can just like walk. You don't wake up in the morning, whack on some shorts and a bikini top and go to the co-work. It's just like easy, good people. For me, that's it, the people.
Right, yeah, you're describing the dream, really. I think I spent so much of my like earlier 20s as a backpacker in big cities. Like I really loved the anonymity of being in, say, like a Berlin, a Barcelona, all those places. Like I loved being one in literally millions, right? And then as I like crept into my 30s, I'm like, oh my God, give me small town vibes. I want to feel like I'm in a Hallmark movie with a happy hour, you know?
Literally. And I think as well, like long-term traveling, you do get so sick of meeting people. That sounds bad because it's all about community, but I used to travel a lot quicker when I was like backpacking and tour leading and stuff because you're moving around like every few days. You kind of get to like the swing of meeting people everywhere you go. But now you're in a place for like a month. It's nice to just like have some friends and not have to worry about making new friends for like another month or two.
Yes, this is a side of solo travel that doesn't get really talked about a lot, which is that like, oh my God, you're meeting every 3 days. It's a new cycle. And when you choose to put down roots as like a solo traveler that has that long-term amount of time to play with, you do kind of get picky a little bit in the shell, but like, you know, you come out of the shell for the right people, but oh my gosh, it's tiring.
Exactly. Like it's good. I love meeting anyone. Like everyone's welcome, but people who look at questions like, how long are you here for? Where are you from? It gets a bit tiring. So it's nice to have like a solid group of friends now for the month. And then like other people come in and come and go. But yeah, getting back, as you say, like the foundation group of friends and then other people kind of come and go.
Right. Yeah. This is really taking me back, like I was saying, to those few months that I was volunteering in Panama and Playa Now. I remember I got there and it was the rainy season and there was really no guests around. I'm like looking around. I'm like, okay, I'm a volunteer for this hostel, hotel. And like, there's no guests. It's just me and the other like employees and coworkers. And that was really cool. But that also meant they were long-term folks too. And they were like in their squads. I'm like, how am I going to integrate? These people have all been here for so long. And it truly comes down to trust the process. But this is my next question for you. As somebody who has done it time and time again, what are some of your tips for integrating into a local community when staying somewhere long term?
You just gotta put yourself out there and it's terrifying, but
truly
go to something you enjoy. So like I quite enjoy working out or like joining exercise classes. So I'll like find a gym nearby or like a class nearby or even like the hostel I'm staying in might have an exercise class. So I'll go and join that and then just be like, hi, what's your name? Happy hours in the hostel are a great way to meet people. In co-works, to be fair, I meet lots of new friends in the co-working spaces because you'll be like sat next to someone on a laptop and you start chatting about what they do. And I think, you just got to be brave, be bold, and everyone gets scared. I still get scared after like 12 years of it. You are fabulous. Everyone will like you. You just got to put yourself out there and say hi.
Yes. Step 1. Mere pep talk.
Glass of wine or 2 and then to get out there.
Right. So true. I really love that suggestion about the exercise classes. It wasn't until like my second month in Panama that I was like, let me join this like surf academy. It was like a squad of us. There was like 10 of us and we're all waking up at 6 a.m. every day. Like there's just something about sweating together.
It's true.
It's a completely different vibe.
And like meeting people without alcohol as well, because then like when you meet people when you're drinking, the next day you might not fully remember the conversation or remember their name.
True.
But yeah, bar crawls and things are great to break the ice. But if not, just do an activity that you enjoy and then you'll meet people and you'll instantly have some common ground because you're doing a surf class or an activity. So yeah, it's a good way to do it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And there's no hangover with that either.
Exactly. But normally at least a drink and then you're hungover. So.
Right. Oh my gosh. And then sometimes when you have like a wild night out and the next day you see each other, you're like, there is this like twinge of awkward.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, I really dropped it low last night. Hi, how are you?
Literally. Or if it's like a sexy man, you're like, I definitely snogged you last night. Hello, nice to meet you again.
Oopsie. Yeah, exactly. I will throw this in there. When you stay somewhere long-term too, like for me, I've got to like give myself that pep talk. Cassie, you're not leaving next week.
Yeah.
You have time.
Exactly.
You have time. Take it slow. You know, maybe go on some dates instead. Like, just enjoy the process. Stretch it out, baby. You've got the time.
Yeah, and when you meet someone, having like seasonal boyfriends, I like to call them.
Yes.
You're like with them for a little bit of time. You enjoy each other, you date, and then you leave. But you just gotta, if a beautiful person comes along, you just gotta enjoy it and not be scared that it's gonna end.
So true.
Because it is gonna end, but...
Oh, right. Yeah. Spoiler alert. I will also throw in the mix that there is a critical difference when you're trying to integrate in a smaller community in the long-term window of the folks that are just passing through and the folks that are like, I live here.
Yeah.
This is my life. This is my life.
100%.
Right. And you've got to get that question out of the way pretty early because that affects everything.
Yeah, it really does. So it completely changes someone's like vibe. But I get it. When I was backpacking, I was just like full force everywhere I went. Whereas now it's more like chill, get to know people. So yeah, it's a good question to ask.
Yes. 100%. And on that note of integrating into a community long term, has anyone ever convinced you to stay longer or vice versa?
I was thinking about this earlier, and I actually can't think of a time where I've stayed longer for a guy. Normally, when I've had like a seasonal partner or something, I like been working a season, so I'll be there for like 4 months, 5 months, and then we'll be together for like that time, and then they're not ever quite worth staying for, and I kind of know that in the back of my mind the whole time, so I just kind of go. But I guess I met my ex traveling in May 2021, so I guess I stayed longer. Well, I was meant to stay on this island called Isla Mujeres for 3 days, but then I made some friends and he was in that friendship group, but then I ended up staying 6 weeks. But that wasn't necessarily for him. He was just part of a like group that made me want to stay.
He's a package deal. He was a package deal.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that too, hearing about, you know, the seasonal boyfriends or the seasonal partners and knowing when it's time to leave the party.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's critical. The bit where you're not stretching something out longer than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Healthy attachment.
Yeah.
Okay, love it.
But yeah, I've definitely like gone on side trips and things with people just because I fancied someone. But no, I don't think I've ever could fully change my plans apart from for my ex for a man.
Yeah. Healthy choices. So let's take it back a bit. You've been traveling full time since you were 18 years old with a brief hiatus during COVID. So that's 12 years and 59 countries. Firstly, wow. Secondly, what advice would you give to 18-year-old Daisy who was just about to embark on that first trip?
I had always wanted to travel. Like at school, people were like, what do you want to do? I'd be like, I want to travel. And people would be like, yeah, but what do you want to do? I'd be like, travel. But they'd be like, what about your job? Like, what about you have to settle down? You have to have kids. What about a family? What about buying a house? What about all these things? And I think I would go back and tell myself that like it is so possible to like have a career where you can travel. Like you don't have to settle down and have kids and have a husband and have all of these things that everyone's questioning you why you're not doing it. Like believe that there's ways to do it. And also I just come out of a really horrible relationship with just a really toxic person. So I had like zero self-confidence. So I think as well I go and tell myself like it's going to get better, you're going to flourish, like you are fabulous, people like you, you're beautiful, and your life is going to change completely as soon as you get the courage to like get on that flight.
Amazing. Yeah, it's giving like fairy godmother in your ear, just giving you that pep talk you need to hear.
Exactly. Like stop listening to everyone else. Your life can be exactly how you choose it to be. You just sort of figure out how.
Yeah, totally. Right on the money there. And I think too, as well, like when you start telling people your travel dreams, you will run into the projectors. The people that just project their BS onto you.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, have you saved enough? And oh, well, what about marriage? And what about kids? And it's just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Can you stop like vomiting your shit on me right now?
So many times. So you're ever going to have kids? What about kids? We thought about kids. And it's like, I don't know if I ever want kids. Like, stop asking me if I want kids. It's not in my brain right now. Like, just because I'm a girl in my 30s, I have no idea. It's like, not everyone has that fairy tale dream at a young age of wanting that marriage and kids. Like, I've just never pictured that in my head. Like, not even a wedding day. I've never even pictured my dream dress. It's just always been, I want to travel, be independent. I don't know. It's just never been in my radar.
Yeah, I can so relate to that. It's like, you know, to each their own, and everybody walks a different path in life. For me, the same. It's like I never had that Pinterest board.
Yeah.
You know, and my perspective on those big major steps in life is I can be convinced.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something I dream about, but I could be convinced.
Exactly.
You know, meet the right person, or, you know, I evolve, whatever. Like, I can
love
be convinced.
that.
I'm open to the conversation. Yeah. But it's not the conversation.
Oh my God, you just summarized it perfectly. Exactly. I'm open to it.
That.
I'm not saying never, but right now, not right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could be convinced. I love that. Genius.
I was going to say as well, 12 years ago, you were definitely in the minority as a solo female traveler. I mean, this has exploded, I'd say, like in the last decade. What was it like back then? Was it a whole kind of different vibe?
It's funny, actually, because I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, why didn't I start blogging and stuff when I went away at 18? But Instagram wasn't really a thing. Like, I don't think Instagram even existed. I didn't have any device with Wi-Fi. I think I had an iPod Touch with Wi-Fi. But apart from that, Wi-Fi just wasn't a thing. Like, if I wanted to call home or, like, call my family, I'd have to, like, go to an internet cafe, arrange a time by email first, then go to a cafe and Skype them through, like, the webcam. And then I have some, like, horrible photos on Facebook. But that's it. So I never worried about, like, making content or the Instagram photos or anything like that. And I met female solo travelers as well, but as you say, it's definitely like exploded and more people are doing it, which is amazing. And I get questioned a lot less now. Like when I was younger, people would be like, oh, but it's so dangerous. Like you can't go to South America, you'll get kidnapped, blah, blah, blah. But now I think people are realizing that girls can do it too, like girl power, but
100%. Yeah, you paved the way. And honestly, I have so much respect for folks that did this without like the ease of Google Maps
and
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no Google Maps, no Wi-Fi. Oh, wait, I got a local SIM card in Australia, but yeah, it was nicer, I guess. Like now I worry about Instagram and things, but back then it didn't even exist. So you just lived your best life.
Yeah, you were just in that moment. Pros and cons, baby. Double-edged sword.
Exactly.
That story reminds me, I honestly didn't start making travel content until like knee deep in the pandemic.
Yeah, me too.
Like it was just something I started doing. Like I went through my camera roll and like I dug deep. Like it was pictures I had taken like 4 years prior and was like having a new life. And I remember at the time being like, oh, I have this itch to like, be quote like travel blogger, whatever. And it was my mom who told me, she was like, Cass, you've already gone. Tell the stories. You don't need to be there.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And so maybe that's inspiring to someone out there that's like, well, I went on this trip in the past, but maybe XYZ isn't an alignment for me to travel right now. Like, honey, go in the camera roll and go to those places again.
Literally.
Really.
And I'm going to say I started a TikTok in COVID just because there was nothing better to do. I mean, I was looking through and I was like, oh my God, I actually have so much content that I could use and like repurpose and talk about and give tips. And then it all started to like flow.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. And I, oddly enough, am the type of person that when I am traveling, I am my least productive when it comes to creating new content. Like I'm just in it. I'm like taken for a wild ride and then I'll remember to make a TikTok if I'm lucky. Like it's truly like most of the TikToks I'm making are, you can't see me right now. I'm in a fuzzy sweater and like at home in fuzzy slippers. Like that's me.
100%. When I'm home, I'm really focused on content. When I'm away, it kind of just slips out my mind. Apart from like the contracts I have and stuff, but my own personal one, I'm busy having fun.
Right, exactly. Go make the stories, come back, tell them.
Yeah.
Amazing. So on the subject of age, you're also a 30-something solo traveler like me. How would you compare your 30s to your 20s traveling so far?
All throughout my 20s, I was traveling quite quick. Like I was either backpacking or working seasons or working as a tour leader around Europe. So it was super fast. And then at 29, I moved out, flew one way to Mexico. And that's when I started to work online and become a digital nomad. So now definitely my travels have got a lot slower paced. Now it's like full time. Like I don't go home between trips. Like I'm just always on the road. I'll go home to the UK for maybe like 1 month a year, 2 months of a year, but that's about it. So yeah, I'd say probably just more relaxed, more go with the flow, a lot slower, just, it's great. And I meet people a lot of my age now as well, living life this way. Like most of my friends are my age or a bit older, maybe a little bit younger, but for people who are like, I can't go because it's for like people in their early 20s. It's like, no, there's so many people all different ages doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that TikTok of yours where you talk about kind of just like almost magically and magnetically pulling people in your age range. And I think that's so natural, right? Like wherever you go, you just kind of find that alignment.
You do. You just kind of, it's just complete accident as well. I don't go around like, how old are you? Oh, I can't be your friend. You do. Like you say, you just kind of, I think, gravitate towards people or similar energy, similar vibes, similar time in life. You always meet people around your age.
Yeah, it just happens. And I also will say, this even started like once I was like 27 and backpacking. I don't ask people how old they are anymore. Yeah. They ask me. I have gotten a sixth sense for knowing when to walk away from a group combo.
That's amazing.
Like I can just tell. I can just tell. It's typically at like pre-drinks before a pub crawl. And there's someone who always is like, so how old's everybody? Run. And I'm like, ugh, get up and walk away.
It's so true.
Like, why are we doing this?
I don't remember the last time. Unless it's like a new friend, and it's like come up in conversation. I don't remember the last time being like, oh, so how old are you? Like, it's not a thing.
It's so rare now. You know what? I'd be curious your take on this too, because for me, that usually happens when I'm in Europe. When I'm in Central, South America, I have met more aligned in age group than ever before. I feel like Latin and Central America, it's like where you can be a 30, 40 something backpacking and it's like totally acceptable, totally fine. I don't know. I feel like Western Europe pulls in maybe like it's my first go at backpacking. I'm on gap year or I'm like just quit my first job or something like that. You see like the 18 to like 25. And age is so relevant then. Yeah. And then you get older and you're like, oh my God,
I remember when I was like 18... like below 25 years old, just finished uni and like in between uni when I travel, and the question would always be, how old are you? Like, what uni are you going to? What school did you go to? Stuff like that. But now none of those silly questions. But also when you're younger, I think as well, you're just like nervous, excited, you want to get to know everyone. And there's like definitely different hostels, like here in Porto as well. There's like some hostels which are known for like the backpackers and the party hostels, and then some which are known for like the more, lots of people who stay long term just stay in apartments instead. So yeah,
there's a vibe for everyone.
It's definitely a vibe for different people.
That's so true. It's so true. And it's like one of those things too, like as like a 30 something, like I love being a 30 something. I feel like so much more maybe wise, mature, comfortable in my skin. It's so many perks.
God, so much more confident in my skin. Like I'm so good just being me. And people comment on it as well. They're like, you just seem so like confident in yourself. And I'm like, it's taken a lot and lots of years to do that. And I think it is only like in the last couple of years I've really been like, oh, actually I'm quite cool. Like I like me. Like
hell yeah. I love that energy. And you're right. It's so much is earned over time. And it's like, you know, that question earlier of what advice would you give 18-year-old self? It's like some things you just have to live, you know, like someone can be in your ear and giving you that pep talk and it's gonna feel nice, but there's nothing quite like living through the experience that makes you really take in and digest that information that I am the fucking best.
Literally. And I look back at all the like random spontaneous adventures I've had with different people and I'm like, they liked me for me. Like I'm great. I have friends. It's a big journey though. So definitely lovely. A journey.
Yeah. It's like, can we just bottle that up and sell it? Oh my God. It's
be millionaires.
Your energy. I love it. So you're no stranger to working while traveling. Can you walk us through some of the gigs that you've taken on while abroad?
Yes, one of the most random ones, I guess, was as a professional fairy. So I was Fairy Daisy in a fairy shop in Auckland, and I would wear like the wings and the dress. I'd have nice makeup on, and then I'd either host parties or as like kids come into a shop, I'd be like, "Hello, welcome, I'm Fairy Daisy." And they'd be like, "Oh, it's a fairy." I was like, "Yeah, I am." That was fun.
Oh my gosh.
I was a horse trekking guide, which was like leading groups of people on their horses along this like 14-kilometer long sandy beach in New Zealand. And we'd go like swimming with the horses in the sea, like go swimming in the lakes with the horses. It was insane. Ice bar hostess. I worked in a factory for a while in Australia. I was 18, just needed money, so I worked there. Actually, I met this guy there.
What were you doing?
Just like picking sunglasses. And on my first day there, I met this guy called Gavin. And it was like all Australian men, like as you can imagine, in a factory. It was a designer sunglasses factory, so we just went around like picking the sunglasses out of the box and like putting it in a little basket. So it was just 18-year-old me, all these Aussie men. And my first day there, this guy called Gavin. He was like, "How old are you?" I said 18. He was like, "How old do you think I am?" I was like, 24. He was like, "Yeah." And then we were kind of like dating for a while.
Stop it.
But on my last day of work, he didn't show up to work and he didn't speak to me for like ages. It turns out he was actually like 35. He completely lied about his age. He actually lived at home. He told me he was living at home because he was like saving to buy a house. He was actually living at home because he'd been convicted of like drink driving felonies, so had to pay back money. So for months, 18-year-old me was like with this sexy Australian 20-year-old guy. No, I was lied to. I was shocked.
Oh my God. That was a roller coaster.
Yeah, mental. And he never spoke to me again.
I wonder, like, what was it with, like, the last day that he's, like, they thought, like, as you walked in, they were going to be like, "Oh, by the way, your BF is actually 35. Thought you should know." Like, what? Why did he just disappear?
They did, though.
Oh, no.
I was like, "Why isn't he here?" They were like, "You do know how old he is, yeah?" And I was like, "Yeah, 20, whatever." And they were like, "No." And then they were like, "Nope."
Girl.
So, yeah, that was a thing. Never saw Gavin again.
You know what, Gavin? Wow, I can't believe it. But Gavin, low-key, totally stole my party trick, which was if I am ever around 18-year-olds at a hostel and they've asked me how old I am, I ask them to guess, and then I'll just be like, "You know what? You're so right." I don't thenceforth like lie to them for months, but like I do it only because I'm like, I just want to avoid like some like weird like 31. Like I've literally had people react so weirdly when I tell them my age that I'm just like, you know what? I just don't even want to do it.
Me too. I literally had a guy at a party last year. He was like, "How old are you?" I was like, I was 29 at the time. And he was like, "You're far too old to be traveling. Why are you here?" I was like,
Oh my God. That's so rude. I had one gal in a hostel. This was so funny. I could tell she was super young just because I was like, she's dressed like Olivia Rodrigo. I love her outfit, but this is a Gen Zer through and through. She was like, "How old are you?" And I was like, "I just turned 30. And I just said it, you know, like other times I'd be like, whatever, like maybe change the conversation. But I was like, you know what? F it. I said it. And she literally, I kid you not, for like a very long 20 seconds, like, "Oh my God. Oh my God." Various ways of saying, "Oh my God." And then at the end she goes, "I'm sorry, was that rude?" And she was so apologetic. I was like, it was fine. But like truly, it was just like the reactions you pull out of people, because I think, especially when you meet like the younger gen, like no fault of their own, they're just projecting where they think they're going to be at that age. Like, "Oh, by that time I'll have like the house and the this and the that." And I'm like, I mean, you might. I don't know.
Exactly.
I didn't.
It's so true.
Oh my gosh. So when I was crawling through your Instagram, I saw in one of your posts, you talking about one of your volunteer for accommodation situations was in New Zealand with 14 of your friends, and that you all got fired at the same time. I have to know.
Actually, it was really random. So I was in this hostel. I was 22 at the time, I think. So I arrived, not known a soul, didn't have much money at all. And then, I don't know about you, but when I first arrive in a hostel, I like look around to see who like looks the most approachable to go and say hi to and like introduce myself.
Of course.
Yeah, and I saw this girl and talking to a guy, and for some reason I was just like, she looks nice. I went and sat next to her. It turns out that she worked with one of my sisters at home near our hometown, and I never met her because they weren't like friends, but they worked together. Mental. Anyway, and then she was volunteering at the hostel, and then I became friends with her, and then she got me a job volunteering. So yeah, 14 of us in 2 different dorms volunteering. We were there for a few months. It was just mental. But then they just got so sick of us because we literally just treated the hostel like our home, I guess. All got like quite slack. We'd like be partying a lot, having fun, like taking over, because there were a lot of us. And then they literally would just like, they got a new manager, And they summoned us all in. We all got a message saying to like come into one of the dorm rooms at a certain time. And she was just like, we've had enough. We're making changes. All of you, you're fired. And we had to leave that day.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So we all had to like check into other hostels and like find new places to stay. And yeah, we were all fired. And then they hired 40 new people to come into our place.
Oh my gosh. Well, when you started your story off by saying we just got too comfortable, I can just picture it. It is what it is. When you're a volunteer, bro, I'm nothing but vibes. I am nothing but vibes for you.
100%. And we weren't even like social hosts or anything. We were just housekeeping. So we would turn up like so hungover or still drunk and just do a job but not very well. And they just got sick of us. So much fun though.
Love it. Love it. So what are some of the resources that you used in the past for finding this kind of work?
Well, I did lots of like working holiday visas. So that was for New Zealand and Australia. And I would, for both, I just kind of like turned up, had no plans. I had a hostel booked for like 5 days and that was it. And so I would arrive and then for New Zealand, it's Queenstown. It was like this little town. So I would just go and like hand my CV out and start chatting to people. And then in the end, I sent a ridiculous email being like, I'm a YOLO legend who loves to party, woo, like the most ridiculous email I've ever sent. And a bar manager came back to me, he was like, love your energy, come in. And then I got my job as an ice bar hostess. And then after that, I would just, like, I wanted to work with horses, so I just Googled horse places in New Zealand, found some, and then emailed a bunch of them, and then some of them said, yeah, come on up. So that's kind of how I found all of those jobs. For like the ferry place, I saw a ferry shop, was like, I want to work there. So I just sent an email and they were like, yeah, sure, come in, we're looking for people. So
I love that.
But lots of friends I know would just use like agencies when you arrive in a big city. And then for online jobs, I use all the various companies like We Work Remote, Remote Co, LinkedIn. And again, yeah, I always just think if you see a company that you really want to work for, then just send an email because that's how I've got so many of my jobs.
Yeah. Just through hearing that kind of story, what I'm seeing as like a pattern is you didn't necessarily wait to see like, oh, there was a job opening. You put your energy out there and you sent a proactive
for every
email.
job I had in New Zealand. It just kind of all worked out.
Yeah, and that goes so much further than like going into the black hole of like, oh, 1 million people have already applied for this. Like when you get really specific and you are that YOLO quote legend. Amazing.
Such an idiot. Got my job though.
I've got to see that email. Please post it.
I will. I'm writing an ebook at the moment of ways to work and travel, and I'm putting all my ridiculous emails in there just as an example of like, just be yourself. And once you start being yourself and your energy towards things you actually want to do, that's when you'll start to see success in what you want to do.
True. Facts. Love it. And can't wait to read that, by the way. So one of the newer options for solo travelers who work remote is co-living. Think co-working meets an elevated hostel vibe. So you've done co-working or co-living. Tell me about your experience as a co-liver.
I had no idea it existed. And then when I came out to Mexico in May 2021, I met people in this hostel and they were like, yeah, we're staying for a month. And I was like, what? And then it turns out lots of places do this co-living. So you pay for a month, you get access to normally like some fitness classes, like an office space, free tea and coffee or whatever. And they're just such a good way to, if you're doing it long term, because it saves you money if you're paying for like a monthly package. And then you meet other people who are like in the co-live program. So you'll just make loads of friends. And it's great. It's like a big adult sleepover but with your own rooms, because you literally just go like from your bedroom to the co-work, which is normally like just down the hall or in the same hostel. And it just creates this like big community of people who are all doing the same thing. So it's such a good way to meet people. I've made pretty much all my traveling friends now through co-living hostels and programs.
Ooh, yeah. And it goes back in line with our question of like, how has our travel evolved as we mature? And I think co-living options that have these co-works that have daily activities that are aligned with where you're at in life, like that's so a part of it.
Yeah, and it's good as well because you know you're going to meet people who are like working. So if you're in like more backpacker hostels, then no one has a job, so you feel like you're missing out on things because you're not on their like routine. But in these like co-living hostels, you know pretty much everyone's working, so you can like go and work with them, and then when you finish work you can go for lunch together or like go out for dinner together, and everyone has a bit of a bigger budget because they have a job, so you can all go out for like nice dinners or do activities or go drinking.
That's true.
Like you're not working in a company of people who work for the same thing as you. It feels like you're at like a place of work because you can chat. It's nice.
Ooh, that's so true. That's so true. And, you know, you bring up that good point. I remember when I was digital nomading and I would try and stay in regular hostels, there was that FOMO because everyone would wake up at whatever time and then be like, let's go get breakfast or let's do this like excursion together. And you'd be like, I'll see you guys after 6 p.m. Like that's FOMO inducing.
Yeah.
But also too, like at the end of the week, say you wanted to like try out and be a foodie somewhere. And they're like, bruh, like it's taco time. That's the budge. That's the budget.
Yeah. Pasta pesto. That's all I can do.
Ooh, pasta pesto. Yes, yes, yes. So, you know what? I've done co-living too, but oddly enough, I was a volunteer. Like as I was talking about spending those months in Panama, I had free accommodation at a Selena there as like what they call a community resident, which basically my job was several times a week creating activities for like the co-live community, the people that were living there more long term, because otherwise it's like, well, how are folks supposed to meet each other if they are really busy in the co-work all day? You know, a lot of things can be organic, but like literally my job, I felt like a cruise director or something. Like, okay, we're going to have dance lessons tonight.
That's amazing.
Or, you know, after you get out of work, come to the bar, it's happy hour. So literally just like making an adult fun playground.
Yeah.
And you guys, I got to say, all of that, like, I got a free room out of it. I got free accommodation. So just saying, that's another option too for folks that are looking for that kind of free a calm life, basically.
Yeah. Free cheap living life.
Yeah. So what are some of your tips for balancing getting your work done while still managing to keep that kind of spontaneous vibe that makes travel so fun?
I have to be try to be very strict to myself. I say this now, but I think I woke up at like 11 a.m. today because we went out last night. So it's not always the case, but I try to keep like a strict routine. So like Monday to Friday I'll work and I'll always like set my alarm for 8 a.m. and then try and start work at 9 a.m. And I'll try and make sure that I'm going into like a co-working space to do it, because as soon as I'm outside a co-working space, I just get so distracted by life. I'm like a squirrel. So I need to be less like in a working zone.
Yeah.
And then just trying to keep a routine as much as possible and like remembering to like exercise, because I like exercising, but for me it's just like a mental health thing. Like it makes me feel so much better if I work out. I feel more productive. So yeah, keeping a routine and then have very spontaneous weekends. But
so true.
if a like spontaneous trip comes up and it's really fun, then I'll just take some time off work. But I try to.
Yeah.
But this is another thing as well about staying in co-living hostels, which makes it so good, is that people plan weekend trips or evening trips because everyone's on like a similar schedule. So yeah, for me, it's just trying to keep a routine as much as possible.
Yeah. You know, what I picked up on during my time in the co-live was it was all about the sunset and the weekend. Yeah. Exactly like you said.
Every sunset, you'd be there with a beer.
Exactly. It's time to chill out. The sun is going down. Like maybe let's go catch some like last minute waves before the sun sets. Like you said, grab a beer, get some apps on the beach, you know, live that good life. Amazing. So when you stick around in places longer through options like co-living, travel relationships can go deeper. Has any romance ever brewed for you while staying at a co-live?
Yes. I met my ex-boyfriend in a co-live within like my first 3 weeks of moving out to Mexico in May 2021 in Isla Mujeres. And then we just happened to both be staying at the same place. And then we were like, you know, it's just a bit of fun. Nothing's going to happen. Very casual. And then ended up traveling and being with him for a year and a half.
Whoa.
Ended last August. But yeah, we met in the co-living, and then we would do the co-lives together to like still meet other people as we did it. But there was definitely romance there in the co-live. And it happens a lot, I think. Lots of people find other men or women, whatever you're into, I think as you're working together, you're traveling together, and when you travel, like relationships and connections get so deep so quick because you're kind of like all you have so fast. So like relationships, even like month-long ones, like your seasonal boyfriend, or whatever you want to call it. But it happens so quick and things escalate so fast. But there's so many romances occurring in these co-living hostels because people are living together, working together.
Oh my gosh. I will add though that you never know what you're stepping into as well. Like for me, when I arrived, I mean, I came out of nowhere. It was just no context, no nada. And I'm just like looking around and I'm like, ooh, they're cute or this or that. And then like through time, you slowly unfold and realize like, oh, so they're a pair, but they're like secretly a pair. They don't tell anybody. But I see, okay, or they were a pair. Like there's just so much history.
And that circles back to what you were saying, like when you are going to be somewhere long term, like don't rush into anything. Like give yourself some time to suss it out. You don't want to like make enemies before you even get started.
Yeah. These are things you learn. Arguably the hard way most of the time.
100%.
I remember just a couple weeks in and I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. Oh. And then literally the countdown begins of like, well, how much more time do they have here? Okay. It's weeks. Yeah. Oh, it's weeks. Okay. So completely different mindset than the regular backpacker hostel where like the average stay is what? 3 max 4 days. Max. Like you're like, I can get through that. Co-live, you guys. Long-term travel, you guys. Listen to Daisy. Take your time because they're not going anywhere.
Literally, do not mess things up. Oh my gosh. I remember as well, this is my first time coming back out, like traveling single and solo again. So it's weird actually like flirting with people because I found my ex, he was from Argentina, so people would always be very confused as well. Like, where are you from? England. Where are you from? Argentina. How did you meet? Mexico. Like, what?
Yeah.
So now it's funny coming back out single again and getting like the lay of the land and being like, oh my God, I have to like flirt with people and talk to people again.
Right. It can feel so weird. Especially, I mean, when I'm at home, I'm a nun. Literally. Yeah. Nun.
Oh my God, me
And
too.
then I go back out and all of a sudden I'm this big old flirt again. And like the first few minutes, you're like, what? You're like cosplaying, pretending. And then you're like, oh no, I'm ready. I'm back out.
Literally. When you travel as well, everyone's just so like sexy and tanned and happy and just free. And so you meet all these people. Like home in the UK, you go out to like the pub, but no one's
radiating.
People don't mingle too much. No. Whereas you come here and everyone's just like social and happy, but so many sexy men here. And this is a surf town.
Yeah. Truly, this is just like all of a sudden my feet are back in the sand at the bar in Playa de now. Yeah. Because like you're exactly right. Like all these people are just like radiating this energy. Like they're on. There's no other word for it than just like they're on, completely present in the moment, for better or worse, only the moment, you know? And everybody's shirt is like a few buttons way too low. Like it's great.
Or just off.
It's just off. No tops. No tops.
No tops, darling. I see them walking around like barefoot with a surfboard under her arm, and you're just like, love me, hold me, be
hold
mine.
Me. I know. I can feel that you're warm. Hold me.
Literally, look at your big arms. Just wrap them around me. But you gotta play it cool because cool girls.
Yeah, no, seriously, I think we were fiending there for a minute. We went full feral.
I know.
Like, bring it in.
Bring it in. But as you say, play it cool.
Yeah, you know what? What I'll say, these folks can be really intimidating, especially when you've just like touched down. So one little like pro tip or like hack that I would use to be like, okay, these are just normal people, is like trying to picture like who they were in their small little town before they came and like took that top off and got a tan.
That is so funny.
Because you'd meet them and they have like this majestic beard, long hair, like they've been living the island or like beach life for a while, you know? Yeah. But like scroll down their Instagram, you'll see they once were a guy in a cubicle.
Yeah, it's so true. You look on their Instagram and you're like, oh, you wear clothes and your tan's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Go in the tag.
You're suddenly far less intimidating.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's a great way to make friends as well. Everyone's just so open and welcoming.
So and true.
You wouldn't be traveling and stuff if you didn't want to meet people and have a rubbish time.
100%. Like, just relax and understand that everybody was once in those shoes too. And you're going to get a tan as well. And you'll be that mega hottie soon enough.
Exactly. Then everyone will fancy you in no time.
100%. Well, Daisy, it's been a joy, an absolute pleasure. I'd love to hear what's next for you. What can we look forward?
Yeah, right. But you book, you're going to start doing like masterclasses and stuff.
So cool.
I'll be bumming around Latin America for a few months. So if anyone's around Mexico, hit me up.
Nice. And how can people keep up with you?
Instagram, TikTok, either one, whatever's your vibe.
Nice. And what's the handle?
Oh, I actually forgot for a second. Daisy's Travel Diaries.
She's on the beach. She's in Mexico. She's living life. She has forgot her social handle.
I'm literally on it every day as well. It's my job. But I'm like, what is it? Daisy's Travel Diaries. There we go.
Love it. Love it. Well, thanks so much for coming on. And you guys, you can check out all of her social links in this episode's description. And we'll have to keep up with you and see where you head next.
Amazing. God knows. I'm excited to see as well.
Yes. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Ciao.
Enchanté.
To keep up with Daisy and all her adventures as a digital nomad, shoot her a follow across social media at Daisy's Travel Diaries. Want to link up with like-minded Globethotties from all over the world? Find your squad by joining Globethotter's Facebook group. Our Facebook group is a private space to ask all your travel questions, swap stories, and meet up with other adventurers on your wavelength. The Facebook group is also the first to hear about any trips I've got coming up and how you can join me. So, to join the squad, all you gotta do is search Globetrotter Travel Gang on Facebook. The link is also in this episode's description. Let's wrap things up with a juicy voicemail straight off the Globetrotter hotline. Today's story takes place in Queenstown, New Zealand, a destination our guest Daisy once called home. Gotta love a Globethotty coinky-dink.
So it was the day before I was catching my flight out of Queenstown. I decided to go out to karaoke with a few girls from the hostel. We go to the karaoke place and it is absolutely dead. Nothing's happening, no karaoke. So we just get drinks and wait. We see another group over there that's saying they're ready for karaoke. So we go over and talk to them. So there was this boy I started talking to. And coincidentally, he was literally from 30 minutes away from where I lived back home, halfway across the world. He offered to buy me a drink, and we hit it off. Did some karaoke. He played this I'm a Shy Little Wallflower. And so, of course, I'm like, oh, you're definitely doing karaoke with me. He was not a shy little wallflower. One thing led to another. After karaoke, we ended up getting some late-night munchies and snacking on the beach, looking up at the stars. I fly home the next morning, and lo and behold, he's actually flying to Auckland the next day as well. So we meet up and have a date, and then the next day is New Year's Eve. Let's just say I got a New Year's kiss and a little bit more. And maybe I'll see him again when I get home. Who knows?
Enchanté.
Inspired to share your own epic travel story on the Globetrotter hotline? All you gotta do is go to speakpipe.com/Globetrotter or click the link in this episode's description to leave an up to 90-second voicemail detailing your travel tale. A quickie, if you will. Want to stay anonymous? No name is required to leave a voicemail. Till next time, I'm Cassie Martinez.